Well, we've got a brand new year, 1993, which brings to mind an interesting historical fact. I'm Stephen Hill, producer of Hearts of Space, and it was exactly 10 years ago, this week, on January 3rd, 1983, that Hearts of Space began national broadcasting of these programs. At the time, we called it an hour of contemporary and traditional space music, which aggravated a few critics, but apparently a lot of you listeners liked the music and didn't mind the lack of intellectual precision. The program grew from 35 stations in 1983 to the more than 270 stations in 46 states that carry us today. We owe a large thank you to the program and music directors of all those stations. And this is the appropriate moment to recognize the immense contribution of my original co-producer, Anna Turner, who worked on the program for 13 years, from its early days as a local late-night show here in the San Francisco Bay Area up until early 1987. Also to Sheila Gerzoff, who's handled our marketing and station relations since 1984, and the rest of the Hearts of Space staff. And finally, the highest gratitude goes to the hundreds of artists and composers whose music and commitment really make the whole thing possible in the first place. To celebrate our 10th anniversary year, we're going to repeat one special program from each of our 10 years every month from now until October. Our selection for the year 1983 is our debut, program number 1. It's called, naturally, First Flight. Space music has always been an international phenomenon, and this program's a prime example of the eclectic multicultural material that we've always presented, from ancient Greek songs to Middle Eastern-influenced choral music, from electronic space music to space jazz. We'll begin with this music from Japan by Kitaro from Tanhuang, from Greek-born composer Vangelis and Greek actress and singer Irini Papas from Odes, and with Asian-influenced music by 20th century Russian composer Thomas de Hartmann from the soundtrack for the film Meetings with Remarkable Men. We'll explore the electronic sound worlds with space music by Michael Stearns from his classic album Planetary Unfolding, and continue with inner space music from the German-born artist Deuter from Haleakala, and from Hawaii by pianist Paul Warner and violinist Steve Kindler from Lemurian Sunrise. Finally, music from 2 classic space jazz albums, first from veteran hornman Charles Lloyd from Pathless Path, and then by the great contemporary cellist David Darling from Cycles. It's a journey across 10 years of time and space. First Flight on this hour of Hearts of Space. Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Stephen Hill.
And I'm Anna Turner. We're going to call this program Star Music. We'll be taking a journey away from this crowded little planet of ours into the great open spaces of the star fields.
We'll begin with this electronic music from Japan by Kitaro, followed by some of Vangelis Academy Award-winning music for the film Chariots of Fire. We'll also be hearing more music by Kitaro from his very popular Silk Road Suite, in a version featuring the London Symphony Orchestra.
From Colorado electronic composer Don Robertson, music created on a high-tech digital synthesizer from an album called Star Music, and a short piece from an album by one of the early 70s pioneers on the Moog synthesizer, Malcolm Cecil.
We'll conclude with 2 beautiful floating pieces of electronic star music from New Zealand and California, and be back with you at the end of the hour with more information about the composers and the albums. An hour of star music on Hearts of Space. It's been an hour of star music on Hearts of Space. We began with electronic music from Japan by Cathedral from the album Tun Huang. Then music by the popular Greek electronic composer Vangelis from his soundtrack for the film Chariots of Fire.
After that, another piece by Kitaro, this one adapted for orchestra from the original electronic version from the album Silk Road Suite.
Then space music from Colorado electronic composer Don Robertson, a piece called Horizons Beyond Infinity from his album Star Music. That was followed by a short piece by the veteran California electronic music composer Malcolm Cecil from an album called Radiance.
We continued with some very serene electronic music from way down under in New Zealand by composer David Parsons, the title music from his 1983 album Tibetan Plateau. Finally, this music for synthesizer, English horn, and bass flute from the album In the Garden by a California composer named Ramananda.
If you'd like to receive a printed playlist with all the information about the music on this program and all the other programs in the Hearts of Space series, just send $1 and your name and address to Hearts of Space, Post Office Box 31321, San Francisco, California 94131. When you write, please give us the name of your local station and mention that you heard program number 2.
You can also get a 1-year subscription to our Music by Mail catalogs, with reviews and information about over 100 of the top space music records, cassettes, and compact discs. Just send an additional $1 to the same address. Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco 94131. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Hearts of Space is produced in San Francisco by Anna Turner and Stephen Hill. Funds for this series are provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through the Satellite Program Development Fund of National Public Radio. Our satellite distribution is funded by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of San Francisco, a production of music from the Hearts of Space, which is solely responsible for its content. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more music from the Hearts of Space. Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Stephen Hill. This week we're taking some time off from our normal production schedule to listen to an enormous backlog of new music that's been stacking up. So we're going to repeat a classic program from the very first year of Hearts of Space. It's called Beyond Baroque because it contains 2 pieces of 18th century space music, if you will, by Johann Sebastian Bach and Tommaso Albinoni. We'll also be hearing some fine contemporary space music from France by Jean-Michel Jarre and Jean-Pierre Alarcen, and selections from 2 early French film scores by Vangelis, which eventually led to his Academy Award-winning music for Chariots of Fire. I'll be back at the end of the hour with more details about the music. Let's begin with this fanfare for electronic guitar from the album Blue Star, a journey beyond Baroque on Hearts of Space. A journey called Beyond Baroque on this hour of Hearts of Space. The program began with this space fanfare for electronic guitar by G.M. Singh from the GRD Recordings album Blue Star. Then a selection of 3 pieces by the popular French electronic composer Jean-Michel Jarre, that's J-A-R-R-E, from his first 2 albums, Equinox and Oxygène. After that we heard Wendy Carlos' synthesizer performance of the Adagio from Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 1 from the album Switched on Brandenburgs. That was followed by the famous Adagio in G minor for strings and organ by the 18th century composer Tommaso Albinoni. The Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra was conducted by Herbert von Karajan. The program continued with some very special contemporary music from France by Jean-Pierre Alarcen. That's spelled A-L-A-R-C-E-N. It's from a French album that was never released in this country called Tableau No. 1. That was followed by music from two early French film scores by Vangelis. First from La Fête Sauvage, and then from Ignacio. If you'd like a playlist with more information about the music heard on this program, send $1 with your name and address to Hearts of Space, P.O. Box 31321, San Francisco, California, 94131. Please include your name and address and the name of your local station, and mention that you heard program number 3, Beyond Baroque. If you'd like a lot more information about contemporary space music, our complete information package includes playlists for the whole series, including this program, plus our comprehensive 100-page Big Space Music mail-order catalog for 1986. The entire pack costs $5 to the same address, Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco, 94131. Please allow at least 4 weeks for delivery. Hearts of Space is produced by Anna Turner and Stephen Hill at Celestial Sound in San Francisco. Our satellite distribution costs are underwritten by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of San Francisco. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more music from the Hearts of Space. Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Stephen Hill. On this program, we're going to explore a different kind of theme with a journey into the dimension of feeling, the world of emotional space. We'll hear some ancient-sounding yet contemporary music expressing the subtle emotions of longing, then move through the exquisite sadness of Samuel Barber's classic Adagio for strings to the gentle transcendence of Daniel Kobialka's extended version of the famous Canon by Pachelbel. In a moment, we'll begin with Constance Demby's music for piano, viola, and hammered dulcimer, the ancient string instrument from Persia, which evolved into the harpsichord and the piano. As you'll hear, there's no doubt about the subject of this music, which we've taken as the title of the program, The Longing, on this hour of Hearts of Space. It's been an hour of music from the Hearts of Space. The program began with music by California composer Harold Budd and producer Brian Eno from their 1980 album, The Plateau of Mirror, number 2 in Eno's famous ambient music series. And then music by San Francisco area composer-performer Constance Demby for hammered dulcimer, piano, and viola from her 1982 album, Sacred Space Music, Volume 1, Constance Demby. After that, a classic for string orchestra, the Adagio for Strings by the 20th century American composer Samuel Barber, with Neville Marriner conducting the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. Then a special extended version of another classic, the famous Canon in D by Pachelbel, arranged for strings and electric piano by violinist Daniel Kobialka from his 1982 album Timeless Motion. Finally, this music, once again by Harold Budd and Brian Eno, from Ambient 2, The Plateau of Mirror. If you'd like to order a printed playlist with all the details about the music, just write for our listener information package with playlists for the entire series, including this program, plus a 1-year subscription to our quarterly Music by Mail catalogs with our selections of the best in contemporary space music. The cost for the whole package is $5.50. Please make your check payable to Hearts of Space and send it to P.O. Box 31321, San Francisco, California, 94131. Please allow at least 4 weeks for delivery. Again, that's $5.50 to Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco, 94131. When you write, please include the name of your local station and mention that you heard program number 4, The Longing. Hearts of Space is produced in San Francisco by Anna Turner and Stephen Hill. Our satellite distribution costs are underwritten by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of Sausalito, California. I'm Stephen Hill. Thanks for listening, and join us again for more music from the Hearts of Space. Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Stephen Hill.
And I'm Anna Turner. For this program, we've chosen space music which evokes the feelings and images of the winter season. On this journey, we'll experience both the intensity and the deep, quiet spaciousness of winter.
We'll begin with Walter Carlo's portrait of winter from Sonic Seasonings. Then a trip through the Himalayas to the rarefied atmosphere of the summit with music by Vangelis. We'll move beyond the mountains after that and into space with an international variety of pieces for electronics, bells, and chorus from Yassos, Jeff Chandler, Asa Kotalainen, Tibetan Bells, Morton Feldman, and Brian Eno.
We'll present the music without interruption and return at the end of the hour with more information about the composers and the albums. It's a winter's journey from the Hearts of Space.
It's been a winter's journey on this hour of Hearts of Space. The program began with an electronic adaptation of the music of Debussy by Tomita from the album Snowflakes Are Dancing. Next, we heard a sound portrait of winter from Walter Carlos' electronic album of seasonal impressions, Sonic Seasonings.
We continued with a powerful journey to the summit of the Himalayas, music by Vangelis from his 1979 album China. Then some interdimensional electronic music from California by Yassos from the album Wave No. 1.
After that, more electronic space music from California by composer and visionary painter Jeffrey Chandler from his album Starscapes, and some electronic music from Finland by Asa Kotalainen from an album called Ajatus Lapsi.
The program continued with some original music for Tibetan Bells and Bowls by Henry Wolf and Nancy Hennings from their album Tibetan Bells 2. Then music for chorus, chimes, and tuba by the American composer Morton Feldman from the album Extended Voices.
Finally, music for piano and women's chorus by the English composer and producer Brian Eno from the album Ambient No. 1, Music for Airports. If you'd like to order a printed playlist with all the details about the music, just write for our listener information package. You'll get playlists for the entire series, including this program, plus a 1-year subscription to our quarterly Music by Mail catalogs with our selections of the best in contemporary space music. The cost for the whole package is $5.50. Please make your check payable to Hearts of Space and send it to Post Office Box 31321, San Francisco, California 94131. Please allow at least 4 weeks for delivery. Again, that's $5.50 to Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco 94131. When you write, please include the name of your local station and mention that you heard program number 5, Winter Space. Hearts of Space is produced in San Francisco by Stephen Hill and Anna Turner. Our satellite distribution costs are underwritten by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of Sausalito, California. Thanks for traveling with us on this winter's journey. This is Stephen Hill inviting you to join us again for more music from the Hearts of Space. This is Stephen Hill.
And I'm Anna Turner. On this program, we're bringing you 4 pieces of music which all have the sound of cathedral space. These immense stone churches are famous for their unique acoustics and their ability to sustain sounds for as long as 10 seconds. We're going to hear selections from the album Gandharva by Beaver and Krause, recorded in San Francisco's Grace Cathedral in 1971 and featuring saxophonist Jerry Mulligan.
After that, we'll hear a powerful piece for organ and soprano saxophone by the Paul Winter Consort, recorded in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City.
Then to the music of San Francisco Bay Area composer-performer Constance Demby from her 1979 album Skies Above Skies. This music, which is based on an ancient Tibetan chant, uses electronic reverberation to create the sound ambience of a cathedral.
And finally, music by another San Francisco Bay Area artist, Jordan de la Sierra, for what he calls the spatially expanded piano, once again featuring the natural ambience of Grace Cathedral. Join us for the next hour as we journey in cathedral space. For the last hour on Music from the Hearts of Space, we've been journeying in cathedral spaces.
We heard selections from Gandharva by Beaver and Krause, recorded in San Francisco's Grace Cathedral, from the Missa Gaia, or Earth Mass, by the Paul Winter Consort, recorded in New York's Cathedral of St. John the Divine.
And pieces by 2 San Francisco Bay Area composers, Constance Demby from her 1979 album Skies Above Skies, with an electronically created cathedral ambience, and Jordan de la Sierra from his 1976 album Song of the Rose, which also features the natural ambience of Grace Cathedral.
If you'd like a complete playlist for this program and some additional access information about contemporary space music, please write to us. Our address is Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco, California 94131.
Again, that's Box 31321, San Francisco 94131. Please include a 20-cent stamp and ask for the playlist for program number 6.
Music from the Hearts of Space is produced by Anna Turner and Stephen Hill at Celestial Sound in San Francisco, with funds provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through National Public Radio's Satellite Program Development Fund. A production of Music from the Hearts of Space, which is solely responsible for its content.
We invite you to be with us again for more programs of contemporary and traditional space music. Music from the Hearts of Space. Music from the Hearts of Space. An hour of contemporary and traditional space music. I'm Stephen Hill.
And I'm Anna Turner.
On this program, we're going to explore the area of musical style where space music meets jazz. Almost all the artists we'll hear have been associated with the jazz field at some time in their career and have been able to create space music within that context.
As you'll hear, the music we've chosen tends to be soft, spacious, and emotionally rich. We'll hear music for string orchestra and jazz soloists by the great Keith Jarrett. From Norway, some intense and beautiful music by Turgi Ripdahl. From a French television soundtrack, we'll hear some music by Vangelis that's as close to jazz as he's ever produced. And from California, music by George Winston, Harold Budd, and a space jazz lullaby by Kevin Braheny.
Even if you don't normally listen to jazz, we think you'll be surprised at the beauty and the spaciousness of this music. As always, we'll present the music uninterrupted. We'll be back at the end of the hour with all the information about the composers, performers, and albums that we've heard. Space music and jazz on this program of Music from the Hearts of Space. In the last hour of Music from the Hearts of Space, we've been hearing space music from the edges of jazz.
The opening piano music was by George Winston from his latest Windham Hill album, December.
After that, music for string orchestra and a jazz ensemble by Keith Jarrett, featuring Keith Jarrett on piano, Jan Garbarek on saxophone, and Charlie Hayden on bass, from the ECM album Arbor Zena.
Then two pieces by the fine Norwegian artist Turgi Ripdahl from his album After the Rain.
After that, two pieces for synthesizer and piano by composer Harold Budd and producer Brian Eno from their album The Plateau of Mirror, number 2 in Brian Eno's ambient music series.
From the soundtrack for a French television documentary, we heard music by the popular Greek composer Vangelis. The album is called Opera Sauvage.
And finally, this beautiful space jazz lullaby for synthesizer and soprano saxophone by Los Angeles performer Kevin Braheny. It's called A Lullaby for the Hearts of Space. If you'd like a complete playlist for this program and additional access information about contemporary space music, just write to us. Our address is Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco, California, 94131.
That's Box 31321, San Francisco, 94131. Ask for the playlist for program number 7. Please also include a 20-cent stamp and tell us the name of your local station.
Music from the Hearts of Space is produced by Stephen Hill and Anna Turner at Celestial Sound in San Francisco, with funds provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through National Public Radio's Satellite Program Development Fund, a production of Music from the Hearts of Space, which is solely responsible for its content. Join us again for more contemporary and traditional space music on Music from the hearts of space.
Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Anna Turner.
And I'm Stephen Hill. We're going to call this program Star Journey. We'll be traveling off to celestial spaces with music by some of our finest space music composers.
From this resonant percussion by Constance Demby, we'll move off with some fascinating bell music and several other pieces by Deuter. We'll continue with electroacoustic music by two Japanese masters, Tsutomu Yamashita and Kitaro.
After that, electronic music by Colorado composer Don Robertson from an album called Star Music. And we'll splash down at the end of our journey for a nice long float on the Sea of Bliss by Don Slepian, an electronic ocean where the waves are always gentle.
It'll be another uninterrupted flight. We'll be back at the end of the hour with more information about the music. Star Journey on Hearts of Space.
On this hour of music from the hearts of space, Star Journey. The program began with some metal gamelan and temple bell sounds by Northern California musician Constance Demby from the album Sunborn.
Then three pieces by a German musician now working in America named Deuter, that's D-E-U-T-E-R. First, a fascinating rhythmic bell piece from the album Cicada. Then two pieces featuring bamboo flute, synthesizer, and electric guitar from a 1979 album called Ecstasy.
After that, contemporary electroacoustic music from Japan by composer and percussionist Tsutomu Yamashita, that's Y-A-M-A-S-H-T-A, from the album Iroha Sui, one of three albums in the Iroha series.
We continued with more music from Japan by Kitaro from the album Key. After that, a piece called Star Journey from the album Star Music by Colorado synthesizer whiz Don Robertson. And we conclude with this Balinese-influenced electronic music by New Jersey composer Don Slepian from the album Sea of Bliss.
If you'd like to receive a printed playlist with all the information about the music on this program and all the other programs in the Hearts of Space series, just send $1 and your name and address to Hearts of Space, Post Office Box 31321, San Francisco, California 94131. When you write, please include the name of your local station and mention that you heard program number 8.
If you'd also like to receive our music by mail catalogs with reviews and information on over 100 of the top space music records, cassettes, and compact discs, just send an additional $1 to the same address, Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco 94131. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Hearts of Space is produced in San Francisco by Stephen Hill and Anna Turner. Funds for this series are provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through the Satellite Program Development Fund of National Public Radio. Our satellite distribution is funded by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of San Francisco, a production of music from the Hearts of Space, which is solely responsible for its content. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more music from the Hearts of Space. It probably began in the natural enclosures of the earth. Our ancient musicians found a space where sound could sustain itself timelessly. From the caves were born the sanctuaries, the temples, the churches, the basilicas, the architectural enclosures. 2,000 years of music reverberating in stone chambers, inspiring in us the mysterious emotions of spaces that sing.
Today we are beginning to create spaces electronically, and a new music is emerging, bounded only by the infinite spaces of our imagination. We call it music from the hearts of space.
This contemporary electronic music from Japan by Cathedral is an example of what we call space music. While the word sounds new, in fact it's a very old musical tradition which has appeared in many musical cultures from all over the world. Almost any slow, subtle music with long internal continuities and some kind of spatial imagery in the sound could be called space music. In this series, we'll be exploring the entire field of space music from its ancient roots to some of today's most visionary electronic music. I'm Stephen Hill.
And I'm Anna Turner. In this program, we're going to follow a path that begins with the Moorish-inspired music of Spain and leads us inward through some subtly oriental cello and zither music from Hawaii to a beautiful contemporary concerto for violin, synthesizer, and a Middle Eastern flute called the nai. We'll identify the music and the composers for you at the end of the program.
Our journey begins with this beautiful song from Spain, sung by Victoria de Los Angeles. In the last hour, we heard a song by the Spanish composer Federico Montpou, sung by Victoria de Los Angeles, from the album Songs of Catalonia.
Some music inspired by Spain from California flutist Shockey Roth with Deborah Henson Conant harp from the album You Are the Ocean.
Next from Hawaii, some deep contemplative music by Bob Kindler for multiple cellos and zither. The album is called Music from the Matrix.
The program concluded with a concerto by Richard Horowitz titled Memoir, featuring Daniel Kobialka, violin, and Richard Horowitz playing synthesizer and the Middle Eastern nai flute.
A playlist is available with full information about the composers, performers, and the albums heard on this program. If you'd like a copy of this playlist and some additional access information about Music from the Hearts of Space, please write to us. Our address is Hearts of Space, Box 31321, San Francisco, California, 94131.
That's Box 31321, San Francisco, 94131. Ask for the playlist for program number 9. Please include a 20-cent stamp and the name of your local station. And if you're enjoying this series, let your local station know that too.
Music from the Hearts of Space is produced by Stephen Hill and Anna Turner at Celestial Sound in San Francisco. Funds for this series are provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through National Public Radio's Satellite Program Development Fund, a production of Music from the Hearts of Space, which is solely responsible for its content.
Be with us again on Music from the Hearts of Space as our journey continues.
Music from the Hearts of Space, an hour of contemporary space music. I'm Stephen Hill. This week we're going to repeat a classic program from the first year of Hearts of Space. It features the work of a number of Western musicians inspired by the sounds and spaces of traditional Japanese music. Over the centuries, the Japanese perfected instruments like the koto, a 6-foot-long floor harp with silk strings, and the end-blown bamboo flute called the shakuhachi. Both of these instruments are associated with music for contemplation and inner spaciousness. We'll begin with music from contemporary Japan by Cathedral, and continue with selections by Stefan Mikas, Tony Scott, Charles Lloyd, Teja Bell, Gail Lawton, Georgia Kelly, and Deuter. The program includes some of the earliest examples of what's now called New Age music. Our title comes from Tony Scott's classic 1964 album, Music for Zen Meditation. Is all not one? Personally, I'm never sure, but we'll have plenty of time to think about it. Is all not one on this hour of Hearts of Space. Program of mostly Japanese-inspired space music on this hour of Hearts of Space. We began with electroacoustic music from Japan by Kitaro from his 1979 album Oasis. Then a solo piece for the Japanese shakuhachi flute by the German musician Stefan Mikas from his 1981 ECM album Koan. The title's a Japanese word for a Zen riddle, Koan. After that, an improvisation by the American jazz clarinet player Tony Scott from his classic album Music for Zen Meditation, recorded in Japan in 1964. This record is considered to be the very first example of what's now called New Age music. That was followed by an unreleased recording of a live Hearts of Space concert made in San Francisco in 1982, featuring Stefan Mikas once again on the shakuhachi flute, with koto-style acoustic guitar, played by California musician Teja Bell. After that, a piece by veteran jazz hornman Charles Lloyd on clarinet, with Mark Isham on synthesizer, plus koto and ensemble, from Lloyd's fine 1979 album Pathless Path, now out of print. Then a group of 4 elegant pieces by California harpist Gail Lawton from another pioneering album from 1970 called Harps of the Ancient Temples, now also out of print. The program continued with a lovely piece by California harpist and composer Georgia Kelly, featuring electric violin by Tony Selvage from the Global Pacific album Sea Piece, Georgia Kelly. Finally, another exquisite piece for 2 bamboo flutes by the German musician Deuter, Deuter, from his 1982 album Cicada. And we conclude with this piece of Pure Serenity by Tony Scott from Music for Zen Meditation. Each week we get hundreds of requests for information from listeners all over the country. I know it's hard to write down the names of all the artists and the albums, so try this. Jot down this toll-free 800 number, 1-800-87-ORBIT. That's 1-800-87-ORBIT. You can call anytime, 24 hours a day. You'll get a recorded message with information about how to get a printed playlist for this or any other Hearts of Space program. You just heard program number 10, Is All Not One. When you call, you'll also learn how to get a listener information package and subscribe to the Heartbeats Music by Mail catalog. The Heartbeats catalog is the largest and most comprehensive space music catalog available, with reviews and information about hundreds of space music records, tapes, and compact discs. That number again, 1-800-87-ORBIT. If you have any comments about the program, please write to us directly at Hearts of Space, P.O. Box 31321, San Francisco, California, 94131. Again, that's Box 31321, San Francisco, 94131. This edition of Hearts of Space was produced by Stephen Hill and Anna Turner. Our satellite distribution costs are underwritten by a grant from the Institute of Noetic Sciences of Sausalito, California. I'm Stephen Hill. Thanks for listening, and join me again for more music from the Hearts of Space.